Yeah.
When is the walk started?
I think registration is there, I think it's 8 o'clock.
Where are you from?
Print a couple copies, pictures.
I haven't saw it yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. About 45 minutes. I already got bored of it real fast.
Ryan, is it okay if you don't have one, or do you need one? I should be able to talk to Ryan.
Board of Supervisor will come to order. Start the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Security cameras were installed in the meeting room for visual recordings for security purposes only. Members of the public could be recording the meeting. An executive session was held following the July 30th meeting for personnel and legal matters. This time we'll entertain any amendments to the agenda. Is there any amendments? Number 3, swearing in ceremony. We're lucky tonight to have Hunter Bach, full-time patrolman, to be sworn in. And our district attorney's here to do the honors of it.
Okay.
You have the floor.
You want to do your thing, Victor?
I would like to welcome the family of Patrolman Hunter Bach, who have joined us tonight as she takes a significant step in her law enforcement career. You have done a wonderful job molding Hunter into a great person who is endeavoring to become a great police officer. Patrolman Bach will be sworn in tonight by Beaver County District Attorney Nathan Bible as a full-time patrolman with the New Sewickley Township Police Department. After being sworn in, you will witness Township resident Rachel Cashdollar pin the badge on the uniform of Patrolman Bach. If you would like to read her oath.
I would. Patrolman Bach, you want to stand? You raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Hunter Bach,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
and the ordinances and regulations of New Sewickley Township.
and the ordinances and regulations of New Sewickley Township.
I also swear that I will uphold,
I also swear that I will uphold,
obey, and enforce
obey, and enforce
the law without consideration
the law without consideration
to a person's race,
to a person's race,
color, sex,
color, sex,
religious creed,
religious creed,
sexual orientation,
sexual orientation,
age,
age,
national origin,
national origin,
ancestry,
ancestry,
handicap,
handicap,
or disability.
or disability.
And I will perform the duties
And I will perform the duties
of police officer
a police officer
of the of the Township of New Sewickley
of the Township of New Sewickley
with fidelity and honor
with fidelity and honor
to the best of my abilities,
to the best of my abilities,
so help me God.
so help me God.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You guys file that? Or
Yeah.
what is it?
Yep.
That's all right.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank
Welcome
you.
to the township.
Don't say
badge fitting tradition within our department has significant meaning to all of our officers. Patrolman Bach, our purpose as police officers in New Sewickley Township is to serve and protect our residents. The badge that was just pinned on your chest symbolizes the authority our residents bestow upon us, the trust our residents have in us, our enduring commitment to serve our community, the integrity each of our officers value, and the sacrifices that have been and will be made by our officers. Each time you put this badge on your uniform, remember what it stands for. Wear this badge with pride and honor, as the rest of your family at the New Sewickley Township Police Department does. During your career, you will face hard days filled with difficult decisions. I encourage you to trust in your training, your life experience, and insight from your fellow officers when faced with these difficult decisions. The decisions you make throughout your career reflect not only yourself, but also all of us who wear the uniform. I trust that you will make the right decisions even when no one is watching. As your career moves forward, it will be easy for you to develop a cynical view of society. You will often see the worst of people. You must remember that the good people greatly outnumber those who have evil in their heart. You must also remember that no one calls for you when things are going right in their lives. You are called upon when things have gone wrong and when people need help. You must maintain your compassion for the people you encounter. Do not let this just be another call. Always remember that this is one of the worst days of their life, and this call is the most important thing taking place in their life. People deserve your full attention, compassion, and understanding. Remember to always treat others as you would want to be treated. Throughout your career, you will learn something new every shift. Never stop learning, never stop training, and never stop improving yourself. Furthering your education is a powerful tool that you can use to better serve our community. You have great potential and a bright future ahead of you. During your career, you will see some of the worst things the world has to offer. It is imperative that you find a healthy way to deal with these things you see. We often do not talk about those things that bother us. Always remember your fellow officers are here for you, and we, maybe more than anyone else, understand what you are dealing with. The last advice I will give you this evening is to always maintain a tactical advantage. Follow your gut feeling, and pay attention when the hair in the back of your neck stands up. Something is not right, and you must identify and address the issue that is causing you to feel this way. The most important thing you can do is go home safely at the end of each shift. Never forget the sacrifices you have made to get to where you are today. I believe you have a very successful career in our community, and we welcome you to our family.
Always a pleasure to welcome the new officer, and thank you for choosing this with the council.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just want to thank the board so much for having me. Thank you, Chief Barney.
Thanks for taking the time to come out.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Congratulations.
Number 3 on our agenda. I'm sorry, that's not number 3. Number 4 is minutes, July 2nd, 2024, regular meeting, we'll take action.
I move to approve of the July 2nd, 2024 meeting minutes as
I'll second it.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Fricks. Mike.
Yes.
Steve.
yes.
Martin.
Yes. Bills from the General and Stormwater Fund, July 3rd through August 6th, 2024, to be paid. We'll take action on that.
I move to pay the bills from the general and stormwater funds as submitted with the signing of the checks following the meeting.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Roll call.
Fricks.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Steve.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes. Number 6, public comments. At this time, we'll take comments from the public. We'll do 3 minutes per person.
Laura Dangle, 425 Klein Road. Good evening, Board. I'd like to ask if you've received the county response letter regarding the comprehensive plan.
We've received a letter from the county, yes, and we've also received one from the school.
Was that since the public hearing held last Tuesday? Okay. Is that available for public display?
What do you think?
Are you able to read that this evening?
I think we can read it. should we wait? I'll read them. Is there copies in there? I don't think so. When we get to that point, I'll read it.
That's fine. I appreciate that. Thank you. I would just like to ask the board, is this a bare minimum plan? Was there any extensive effort or thought put into it? There are numerous deficiencies and key components that are missing from your comprehensive plan that's on your agenda to be adopted this evening. As I've stated during the public hearing, I don't need to restate. There's been a public record held, so thank you.
We don't consider it to be a deficient report. For the most part, I'm really pleased with the information and the time it took and the planning commission's effort that they put into it. So we disagree with that. It's incomplete.
Can you explain how the rural resource boundary decision to remove the rural resource boundary was obtained?
Well, the rural resource boundaries, it's done through zoning, I believe.
No, it's not done through zoning.
Joanne, can you comment?
Sure.
How that was-
It's actually, after last week's meeting, I took the time to look for the rural resource boundary that Ms. Dangle spoke about, and I could not find a reference to it in the county documents. And you have zoning that has some various zoning districts, and you have conservation areas, but a rural resource boundary is not a term I'm familiar with within the parameters of the districts or the where the county has the ability to identify areas. There are conservation areas, and maybe that's the reference, but it's not the term that we came across when we were researching information that we presented. If Ms. Daniel has some specific documentation that identifies that and wants it submitted, we can put it on the planning commission to review, and we can, as we talked with Mr. Martin last week, as we continue to do the updates in the coming 10 years, we can certainly address that issue, but it's not a term that I was able to find in my research in the past week to look into.
I may have misspoke. It's a rural resource area, RRA, and it's identified by the municipality's planning code. It was in your 2013 comprehensive plan, as well as the 2010 county comprehensive plan. And these areas are extensively identified throughout both comprehensive plans, throughout the county, in areas outside of New Sewickley as well. A rural resource area, sorry. That's RRA.
Is that something does that ring a bell, Jan?
There are conservation resource areas and things like that. I'm happy to look into it. I just don't think that whether there is one or isn't one. Again, as a planning document, this is a guidance document that I would encourage, and we've discussed in the last public hearing, the advantage for the township is to continue to consider ideas like conservation easements and preservation areas, and we can look into the rural resource area and decide if there's and the planning commission can make a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors if you want to address that at a future date.
Yeah, so again, and I mentioned this last week, the comprehensive plan that's being proposed, as with any comprehensive plan, is not a binding document. It's not making binding designations or removing or imputing upon any particular land any sort of designation. It's just a planning tool, and I don't want to say just because it has a lot of fantastic information in it. But if there was a removal of some sort of designation, it wouldn't affect the actual regulations that are in place through zoning, subdivision, land development, stormwater management ordinances, things like that. It also sounds like what Ms. Stengel is describing, without seeing a definition in front of me, is similar to a conservation area, which I believe Joanne pointed out is something that's been maintained in the comprehensive plan.
So you're saying that's not something that would prohibit us going forward with this? The RRA would not destroy the whole
No, no, it wouldn't.
compact?
Something we can look into further. What I was referring to is the three districts that got eliminated in zoning. The different areas of development that were allowed. And so we don't do that anymore.
So, and just to kind of drive the point home that you're making here is that there's various zoning districts now, and that's the way that land would actually be preserved or otherwise maintained is through the zoning ordinance and like the similar ordinances. Again, you could mark something as a rural resource area in the comprehensive plan, but it would just be a goal to preserve that as a rural resource area. It wouldn't necessitate any sort of deficiency or finding of deficiency in the plan. Again, this is just sort of a document with goals and intentions moving forward, so.
We could get into a whole discussion on how all that could apply. So
Correct.
we're not gonna get into that.
That's fine.
We're gonna go with what we have at the moment. The document is not a legal bound document.
I'm aware.
It's a guideline, and the planning commission, if they so choose, can choose to recommend something further if they so choose. I don't know that we wanna go down that road spending a bunch of money. We just spent a whole bunch of money doing it.
Right.
So I'm not opposed to looking into it a little bit, but I think we don't want to limit our options either by designating something that we have to try to remove later.
But that's exactly what you've done. It was previously
Well,
designated.
it may be, but we're.
And so I'm just asking for an explanation as to how we came to the decision to remove the rural resource area.
Explain what a rural resource area is intended to do.
I can. I don't have it in front of me because I wasn't expecting for the deliberation questions back and forth, but I can certainly give the board testimony on what a rural resource area is defined to do.
I mean, just generally speaking, if this is a significant point of concern for you, I'd expect to be able to understand what the purpose of it is for.
I think that you're well informed as to what the designation of a rural resource area is under the municipality's planning code, and we have identified that on the legal record that you have been presented with. So I don't want to get into the back and forth. This is a deficiency according to the 2010 County Comprehensive Plan. And so when you adopt a new comprehensive plan, it is meant to align with the county's plan. And at this time, the new Sewickley Township 2023 plan does not align with the county's plan.
I don't believe it's a deficiency, and I think that we can move on to any other comments that Ms. Stengel has.
Any further comments?
Not on this topic, but Terry Marshall, I live on Park Hill Road. I've been here before. My biggest reason for coming here is because of the noise complaint from the industrial park. So I heard there was mufflers being installed. Back in May, I heard that, so I was just wondering when that was going to happen and what any kind of timeline was for the noise to be.
We have kind of an update on that, Ron, if you want to.
Absolutely.
While we're on the
Mufflers were
topic.
installed over the weekend.
They were installed?
Correct. I took a visit up there today, so when I was on the property on there today, it's a lot different than it was before. So then I traveled down behind the traffic, behind the Tri-County Soccer Arena. It's very muffled there. Or you can hear the water fountain on the lake. It's working more than you can hear the, see that paper shredder. But if you go on to, I think it's Longview and Economy on the other side of Novi, there is some noise that you can hear there. I didn't take any equipment out there to test the sound levels to see if it is within range of our ordinance or anything like that, but
What day was it? Was it Saturday or Sunday? Because I know Larry texted me and asked the one day, does it sound any different? I literally walked out on my deck and it was still like booming loud. So
It was Sunday
Sunday.
that it was installed.
that installation was completed.
Like what time? I'm just wondering because he texted me and I walked out on my deck and it was still super loud.
So I don't have the time on Sunday that it was completed, just the information that it was completed on Sunday.
And it was still loud today, so I'm just, and yesterday, so I'm just wondering, like,
It's different than it was, I can tell you that. So I didn't have any equipment to measure it, so I'm just wondering about that, so I'll send them out there to get some readings of where they stand on their level of our ordinance.
is there an ordinance for like the noise of, like, I know you guys were gonna talk about changing the noise ordinance, like, you know, to incorporate the tonal sounds and stuff. Was that like ever changed or?
Yeah. Our ordinance is still the same ordinance as it's been.
I don't hear a difference, and I live there in Nightmare for these mufflers, and Larry thought maybe they were installed. I'm like, there's no way they're installed because I don't hear anything different. From where I live on Park Hill Road, there was no difference with the sound. So like this, like moving forward, if the mufflers did not do what they're supposed to do, is there any other ideas on what to do moving forward to change this noise?
Are there any actual comparisons before and after?
We have before.
He did one. Larry did one.
I mean,
Yeah, we just got the notification. Oh, I'm sorry. We just got the notification today.
Excuse me, one other thing, and I must be going deaf because of the noise, but I can't hear. All I hear is mumbling. Is
I
there
think it
any
might be
reason why we
If
don't
you're
have
gonna call me, you
mics?
need to stand and give us your name too, so we know who you are.
I can't hear
Stand and
you
give
now.
your name. Stand and give your name.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hi, I'm Nadine Burgle. I live on Park Hill Road. Sir, I can't hear a word anybody's saying. Don't we have mics? Don't you guys have mics?
There's seats in the front, you might hear better up there.
It's just like, I can't hear from anything.
Come on up.
Okay, I'll come up front. Not a problem. Okay, and your explanation?
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to provide the information that we just got today the notification that the mufflers were installed, and I don't think it was appropriate conditions to go out and take a noise reading with the rain.
No,
So,
we
they'll-
understand that.
I think we intend to do that though, to take an after-the-fact noise reading
Correct. But it
And they
sounds,
were installed today?
Sunday.
Sunday?
Yeah, we got the notification today.
Okay.
I have a question for you. You live in economy. Have you talked to economy about this?
Sir, the economy doesn't even care. We've been there numerous times talking about it over the years. You know, they say it's New Sewickley's problem. Go see them. That's why we're here. There's always that passing the buck between Economy Borough and New Sewickley Township. Anytime we have an issue with, you know, a lot of the debris, excuse me, the debris that comes off the runway on our road because of the tower, we call them, they say to call New Sewickley. We call you, you tell us to call Economy Borough. Where is the cutoff on Park Hill Road? Who owns what portion of it?
New Sewickley, because it's the shortest, it doesn't go very.
We don't go very far.
Well, that's the problem. We play tennis. They tell us to call you, we call you, you tell us to call them, and
Well, we've been on this for, geez, as long as I've been on this board, we've been addressing that noise problem.
I'm
It's still
talking about
there.
basic problems.
Well-
Sore problems, runovers.
Well, we're here talking about the noise problem here
Right.
tonight for,
We
I just
talked-
think it would be more powerful if they would join us. And.
Well, would that not communication come from you to them? Why would we as citizens have to ask them to speak up? You guys are, you know,
maybe
peers.
what you're not aware of, we haven't had a meeting with Economy Borough,
Okay,
but we've had meetings with the company and their attorneys, and our attorneys and our staff, and that's what generated these mufflers.
okay.
And that's what generated lowering the sound level, we thought, you know, to within our ordinance. And they stated that they're gonna keep an open mind, but they've also already spent an additional tens of thousands of dollars. At least 15, they said.
It
And
doesn't.
we've spent that much money. So it's an ongoing thing that we were trying, and we thought we had solved. And you're telling us now that it's not solved, so now we have to get a reading, see what that reading is, see if there's anything we can do, but to get more restrictive to, on top of it, I don't think that this board's ready to do that.
Well, again, I would think that surrounding communities, township leaders, community leaders would get together and say, this is affecting all of our communities. Why aren't you guys partnering with them and them partnering with you?
If
Why
they
is
don't
it?
want to partner with you, excuse me, if they don't want to partner with you, do you think they would partner with us?
Well, they partner with me, but, I don't know about your personality, they would love me. Now, the bottom line, sir, is.
I get it.
If we don't get together and do this collectively, we're all wasting our time and our energies and your resources.
Okay, we've made some progress, so let's see what that, Let's see
Absolutely, show
what-
it to us in black and white,
let's
we'd
see what
be
it
more
is,
than
yeah.
happy to see it, absolutely.
Larry.
Hi, my name's Larry Huff, I live on Hoffman Road. I'm sorry to hear that the mufflers were installed. I performed a noise assessment at 2:30 to 3 o'clock a.m. Monday morning. The total noise level, which was never the issue to be addressed, is reduced by approximately 6 dB. The tonal audibility is not eliminated. Tonal audibility was always the issue. And in November 11th of 2021, Buncher and DMS committed to address the tonal noise. And to date, no progress has resulted. And this is in spite of.
Just one thing, because this will go on all night too.
Yeah.
Put that all in writing.
I
Give it to
will
Alexis.
issue a report.
Alexis can then take that to their attorney, and we can approach it that way.
As of next week, it
Because
will be
what you're talking about means
21 months. And there's no excuse, because in November, we provided, the township provided them with an expert resource that has the least expensive solution to tonal noises. And it's absolute. Their website is extremely informative and educational, very detailed, with examples and recordings of results reducing and eliminating tonal noise disturbances from equipment nearly
Okay,
identical.
but we've made some progress. They said they would work with us, their attorneys.
Okay.
Now, they've done something. We don't know what that entails yet, because you say you've got a reading, put that in writing, give it to
I will
our
do
attorney.
that.
Our attorney will then handle it with their attorney. We're gonna take it from there, so.
In my view, after 21 months of no progress, they're out of time. And I believe that what is necessary is to cause them to shut that equipment down for the sake of the health and welfare and the rights to have peaceful use of their properties until they address the tonal noise. By the way, the solutions we're talking about are $2,600 a fan. There are 3 fans. They were also informed in January of 2022 of a free offer of this company to perform an assessment and write a proposal.
That's the first I heard. We don't have that information, so can you please give that to
Okay.
Alexis? Give that to
I have
Ron.
copies of all the emails.
Give it to us. Ron will give it to Alexis.
Okay, very well.
Chairman, we've been discussing that with DMS. Larry has given that to me, I've given it to Alexis, Alexis says, let's discuss that.
So that was the result of the mufflers then? This is what they're,
This is after the mufflers.
what's after?
Another.
On that DMS, on the website, it states that mufflers will not address this tonal noise.
It's
In
an
black
ongoing-
and white.
We're working at it slowly, trying to get to a resolution.
I will write a report. Thank you very much.
Any other public comment? Any MS4 public comment? Good.
Laura Dingle, 425 Klein Road.
3 minutes, yeah.
Oh, well, we didn't have the timer going for the last commenter, but I know we like to enforce it for me. It's cronyism, right? I just had a quick question regarding the construction project on Lovi Road for the New Sewickley Township Municipal Authority water line extension project. Is there any erosion control measures that are being taken on that project?
That's the municipal authority.
Okay, so the township doesn't have any enforcement?
We have oversight over it, yes, but they're.
Are they exempt? Are they exempt from basic erosion control? Okay, then maybe someone should consider addressing that. I have photos I'd be happy to submit.
I'm sure you do, we got a big rain.
Okay.
So there's water running everywhere tonight.
There's absolutely nothing that has been done on the disturbances thus far. Now, I know under a Chapter 102 and a Chapter 105 permit with the county conservation district, it's if there's so many acres of disturbance. So I don't know if this particular project is exempt from that or not, which is why I'm asking. Do the engineers have any comment?
It has all permits in place, so contractor's responsible to follow those permits. I'll relay the message on to the municipal board.
Thank you.
Any other municipal comments? Administration, treasurer's report. Cool. Item number B, beautification, upgrade, Freedom Crider Road. Order, Brian Kowalski.
Would you like me to come up?
Sure.
Good evening, everyone. Brian Kowalski, resident at 760 Freedom Crider Road. The landmark I'm talking about today is the covered bridge. Most people know the landmark. I think it's the only one in Beaver County, so don't need more than a couple minutes of your time, but it's involving the PennDOT Freedom Road expansion. There was kind of a change in plans from the initial design that kind of affects me and the frontage along my property there. So I guess the soil conditions weren't right according to PennDOT, and there was a change to put limestone in. So now that we're going to look at, the community and myself is looking at a limestone wall made out of rock about 80 feet tall by 1,500 feet long. So it goes back to the township meetings that we had at the Big Knot Community Center in 2019. They kind of proposed a drawing, kind of relocating my driveway. Used to come out over the bridge, make a right, I make a left. Okay, no big deal, but kind of showed me this nice rendering of a nice grassy hill, kind of matches the 50 acres I maintain. And since then, the change kind of looks like today's conditions. I did have Martin, Fritz, Mr. Leitendecker down at the house. I kind of didn't know what to do, right? I went to my attorneys, and the team kind of said, you can't sue PennDOT. I asked for an emergency junction, take it to the Beaver County Courthouse. They said there's no enforcement we could do. Kind of what you need to do is get your state leaders, your reps in the community behind you to see if we can make enough noise, is the way I'm describing it, to see if they can incorporate the change. It's pretty simple. It's a rock hill now, so it's 80 foot tall. They're not planning to put any topsoil, seed, straw. It's going to continue to look like that dark gray area that you see in the picture. I did have Elder Rogel down at the property. I have State Rep Jim Marshall involved. They've been working with PennDOT. They've been kind to denying it to date. They had referenced in a letter back to me saying it was going to cost about $250,000. Don't know where that number come from, excuse me. The number they're saying was going to cost $250,000 to cover this area in the picture here. Topsoil, that was the original design. I don't know when they made the change, if they forgot to incorporate that back or whoever made the mistake, but that's kind of what was always promised to me. I would have petitioned this 5 years ago if I would have known that's what everyone would be looking at, right? So when I went back, the goal said, who's the general contractor on the job? They said it was only going to cost about $130,000. My understanding, this is about a $70 million improvement to the township through Beaver County. $130,000 is like 0.25% of the total project. So what I'm asking here today is, if the board will write a letter supporting the beautification, we're calling it, of this part of the Freedom Crider expansion. So, and again, I've been there for about 14 years. There's weddings there and graduations. I think it's the only one in Beaver County. So, and I work very, very hard to try to maintain it and keep it up to, so it looks beautiful for everyone, right? And it's, if you go to Wikipedia and type in New Sewickley Township, that's what you see is the picture of the covered bridge that's on there. So that's why I'm here today. Not sure if it's going to help or not. I'm at the point where the project's supposed to be paving. I think they're supposed to pave the road Labor Day, so that's the beginning of September. So I feel like my window of opportunity is slowly shrinking. Another thing I have too, that's kind of what it looked like yesterday when I took it. you know, you could see these big boulders are moving and rolling down the hill. I did farm that land. I mow the grass. I have a 7-year-old son. We ride quads and dirt bikes. This is what I'm dealing with, and it's just, I think it's a simple solution. Is you originally were giving me a design like this. It's not an engineering problem. Their engineer from PennDOT said that it wasn't an engineering, that the dirt could be there. The cohesion worked to cover this limestone about 12 inches in topsoil. They could come over like the rest of the project and hydro seed it, or some type of crown veg that would turn a nice purple flower. I just think it would help, especially for me looking up at everyone else who enjoys the bridge while they drive by us. So that's about all the comments I have. I can take any questions if you have any.
You were never able to find out who changed the original plan?
I believe it was SAI Engineers. It was PennDOT. Again, they spent $2.2 million on the change of the project. I guess it was soil conditions. They had the core samples 5 years prior to that, and once they got into the project, the coil samples didn't match what they were digging into, so that's where the change came of the stone versus just what we'd call in the development is fill dirt, right? Shell.
Two different engineers.
So I don't know where the mistake happened. I think that's what happened is they approved the $2.2 million change to put this stone in, and they didn't have someone in the saying, hey, we made the change. This was what was promised back in 2019.
Would that stone be for stabilization of that bank?
It's compaction, yeah. Just this, they have a good material on it. My fear was when they were doing it that you couldn't put dirt on, that it would slide or fall, but I've had multiple engineers telling me, CEC said it, I've had 2 other ones in PennDOT, all agree it could be done. It's a monetary thing at this point, and they came back in a letter to Elder Vogel's office and said it was $250,000. Well, Elder Vogel's working to get that quote in writing because I was told otherwise. That number was highly inflated, so I'm trying to see where the miscommunication was. We're trying to get that quote in writing because Golisek, who's the general on the job, is saying it's only $130,000. And that's the high side. He says that's in 2 weeks if it takes to do the topsoil. If he gets it done in 1 week, it costs $55,000.
Well, they're hauling dirt now anyway.
Oh, the dirt's there. The dirt was right next to the covered bridge for the last 3 months when I started asking for this. And again, I think I was going down the round avenue at that point. I was working with my counsel and a team of attorneys, and they're not getting much response for PennDOT, and that's where I said I'm going to go to the state rep. I stopped in and talked to Mr. Leyendecker here, and he thought it'd be a good idea to present it to the community. I don't know what else I could do at this point. They did offer to put trees at the bottom of the toe of the hill as a solution, but there is a power line that runs through my front yard that Penn Power has, and part of that, there's easements and restrictions that don't allow for growth underneath those high tension power lines. And it's 80 foot tall. They go put a 6 foot tall tree, and it's going to take 70 years. I'm 44 years old. I'll be looking at that the rest of my life. So
I think we could write a letter in support. I don't think the board's opposed to that. So did you hear back from
elders? So it's the district director. Nate Trout. I think he was moving, so he was off last week, and that was where we kind of left off. Was all right. Hey, I was presenting that today on the 6th. And we were waiting to get the actual hard numbers and a proposal to or from Golisek, which should state that $130,000. It's not the $250,000 that they said in the email. And again, Golisek, it's 2 different ways. It's a time and the materials there. If it takes 2 weeks, it's $130,000. But if he gets it done in 1 week, then they're only getting charged for the time and the materials.
All that information you've got needs to be communicated to Ron.
I think Ron's, I don't know if he was in the chain of email or not.
Ron can put that into a concise letter for us.
Yeah.
And we'd be happy.
It's just a shame because, that's what everybody's going to be looking at. It's 80 feet tall and by 1,500 feet.
It amazes me they got the dirt to do it.
The dirt's sitting right there. They actually bought the dump site, and there's going to be continuation of dirt because the expansion of Freedom Road up at Powell Road down to Haynes School Road. The dump site that they purchased off of Freedom Crider Road towards Crow's Run there, all that dirt will be coming past my house at that time.
Something had to change.
Well, that's what it is. Someone had to change, and in that change, they forgot about incorporating the topsoil, because if this was done when the change happened, there would have been no additional charge according to Golisek, because it would have been a hell of a lot easier, excuse my French, to start bringing the dirt up as they brought that 80-foot up in lifts. You know, it was kind of cut in lifts. If they were bringing the topsoil up at the same time, it probably would have been a wash at that point.
Right.
So I think there was a mistake on their end.
They track that in as they go.
Yeah, yes, Chris.
The thing that blows my mind is, unless you're not a geologist or an engineer, but they came along and poured in dirt here and
Oh yeah,
stopped.
good point, Fritz. I got a better picture of that.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, that's this where they've stopped the premium fill. That's what I was supposed to be looking at. This area to the left here is topsoil, and they'll be spraying some type of seed on there to stabilize the hillside when they're done to be able to close out their NPDS permit. So, why they stopped? Again, I think it was a mistake on their end, and they're not owning up to it at this point. So.
You know, Ben's not talking about temporary intervening.
Well, it's all the way up at the State Department, and I think why they used that $250,000 figure is because that sounded like an inflated number. It's easy to say no to that, but I have a solution that from the general contractor for half of what they said, and that could be maybe 1/4 of the worst case scenario. So.
Used to be able to pull out of your driveway and pretty much go right on free.
Yeah, that goes back to, I've been arguing for, they had all this extra dirt. Actually, when Independence did the first phase, starting at Crow's Run, they approached me and said, if you have so much extra fill in this, would you mind filling in your valley there with dirt? And I said, well, can you take that dirt and build me a mound up at the, along Freedom Crider Road, just for sound absorption? It was a nice rural residential road, and now they're guesstimating about 1,200 trucks a day on this road when they're done. So it's going to generate a lot of noise. I'm losing some of my privacy. At the end, I support the project because I know it's great for the township and the community, but I'm being directly affected. Something else I'll bring up at a later point, maybe the solicitor could help me here, is how do I designate that area a no jake break zone 2? If we could get some signs posted there. I think the way I read it is that it goes by the grade of the hill. The area I'm talking about where I live and going down 2 miles is pretty flat. I'd love to see that area designated no jake break zone, because in their studies where they denied the sound wall made out of dirt, they don't calculate the jake break. And it's, everybody here, if they heard it, it's, they could throw that thing all night long, 24 hours a day, 1,500 times a day. These trucks come roaring by. So.
Problem is, Ben though has to approve that sign too.
I don't know what the process is, but I just, and again, Liberty Hills is above me, and whoever lives up in Richwood plant and these other plants that sit up by Freddie Shields, you got Tim Helch that has his farm up, they're all going to hear the jake brake from when they're coming down, because that's when truckers, they don't want to use their brakes to burn the brake pads, so they throw that. I don't think they really consider who lives on a road or who's sleeping or raising a family in these houses. So
like I said, get that run so we can get a good letter to get your points all in that
absolutely.
letter.
Yeah, I took longer than my 5 minutes. Thank you guys for your time.
You mentioned a date. What was it?
That's the paving of the road that they were to. So this was supposed to be done 6 weeks ago. They were supposed to actually be paving in July.
So when does this letter have to be?
Well, it's already in motion. I got Elder Vogel's office is working on it. I think it's from the community. I don't know if it would be beneficial if I said, hey, I'll draw a petition up. If that would even be worth my time, get 100 signatures, 200, 500. I think I could generate that pretty easily. Just again, because of the location and the landmark that the bridge is. I don't know when it was built. Again, I've only been there for about 14 years. But as long as I remember, that bridge has been there. So.
One last thing. You have wedding venues?
There's weddings. I've had car cruises. I've donated my church. I never got married there, but I've donated my Grace Community Church. I've done weddings and donated people that I didn't even know. So.
How about fishing?
Fishing, there's people there all the time. Yeah, there's monster fish in that pond. So I don't fish. I don't have the patience to do that. It's like archery hunting, right? Some people, it's for some people, not others.
With you.
No, I don't know. Again, and the worst thing is, even if it came down to $55,000, I'm not allowed to touch that area. They took that through eminent domain, so there's nothing I could do. So
Let's see where it goes with the senator and with the representative.
And I think if we hit them, and if you say, hey, grab a petition letter, I could have my council draw it up and start getting some signatures. I bought the 4 intersections at the roundabout there too, and I have the fruit stand that I lease the property to. So there's people come there all day long there from New Sewickley Township. I'm sure they would sign that petition if the community think it would help too, and if they want to see it or they don't care.
Well, you got a little bit of an answer. If those guys from PennDOT keep going on vacation, you know, that's the problem. They're all on vacation.
Well, it's like I have like for that 130 grand. As long as I've been there, the amount of taxes I paid probably double that in property taxes over the last 14 years. So it's.
Well, we'll check with the representatives too, and see where they're at with it, because they'll get the answers before we will.
Yeah.
And we'll get the 100.
Great. I greatly appreciate that. Thank you everyone for your time. Oh, you got a question?
Yeah, are you able to share that petition on Facebook?
I don't know if it's worth to do a petition yet. I'm just, again, if they tell me no, I'm trying to come up with other options. I'm a firm believer there's a will their way, so I'm working about another plan now. If they say no with the topsoil, I've contacted companies out of Texas that actually hydro seed topsoil. It's like organic, some type of organic material that has wood chips in it, and it should grow like a hydro seed. I'm trying to work different avenues. I'm just, again, thinking that my window is slowly shrinking, and that's where I'm thinking petition is, because not only that I have the state representative, the senator, the community of New Sewickley Township, if I had the residents behind me as well and try to gather the signatures. So
we got wood chips. We got wood chips.
Yep.
Don't move it.
Yeah, it's like it goes in a hydro seeded machine. Yeah, I think it's called organic dole, and it sprays. I mean, you have to put it on a little heavier than you would a normal hydro.
Mike Castello was here.
Yeah, I know him very well. Yeah,
he probably has something to do with it.
It comes in cubes. It's not like out of a wood chipper. It's something that has the organic material. Because again, normally we spray hydro seed, even if it's over shell, there's some type of natural organic material for it to bite into, and that's the concern is with that limestone.
We can't get them to honor their original commitment.
That's why I keep pulling this up. This is what's promised. Now I didn't know who the engineers, SAI, like this one. If I cropped it out so it was a little bit clearer for you guys to see, but they proposed us at the township meeting, and they kind of went over, because again I was losing my driveway and my access to Freedom Rider, so they kind of gave me this as what they're proposing the new access way would be. So. Great. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Chairman, President, is it the wishes of the board? Good luck. Board letter from the board supervisor.
Make a motion. Make a motion to send a letter to whoever. PennDOT, yes. Maybe even a CC our legislators.
Coordinate with the legislators.
And in the strongest language possible, that we are opposed to what they've done to this their property.
Changes in midstream.
That's what I'm.
You have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any additional comments? Roll call.
Fritz?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes. Okay, you get a letter. But please give Ron that information so we can draft it.
Of course.
The way he needs to read it. You have all that.
I'll do my best. I'll email him the picture so he has a hard copy of what it looks like today versus just a couple weeks ago. And
you get it to Ron, and he can get it to our engineer to see if there's something that we can add to it.
yeah.
We'll give it a glance over.
Does a petition work that way? I don't know. I've never done anything like
this. This is a letter of support.
But something separate is that petition help when you, because I know when you have issues that you can put a petition together and gather a bunch of signatures to
I would
submit.
say it can't hurt. If you want to go ahead and get a petition, go ahead. But we need to get this letter coordinated with our representatives because they're working on it now.
Absolutely.
So as soon as we get this together with, everybody forced and get into PennDOT before they go on vacation. I think we can't get it.
Yeah, not that hard, yeah.
Okay? Thank you.
Yeah. You have any other ideas?
Yeah, I mean, it's topsoil's probably the cheapest. The topsoil's probably the cheapest option. We'll make it green.
But, anything that we can do to encourage them?
Oh, the legislature says this conduit.
They got the funding.
Yes.
Okay.
It's always about money. Okay, item C, approve the staff to attend the cause conference August 22nd from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. with paid coverage, handle paid coverage for answer phones at the office. We'll take action on that.
I move to approve the staff to attend the call conference August 22nd, paid coverage provided.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions or comments? Roll call.
Fritz.
Yay.
Mike.
Yes.
Steve.
Yes.
Mark.
Yes. Okay, workshop scheduled for August 13th at 6:30 p.m. We need to run through everything. That'll be our first workshop headed towards working on our budget. We got lots of things to discuss at this first workshop. I don't know how we're going to get through it all, but topics include emergency management, firefighters, tax relief, old fire department building, possible purchase, tax relief senior property owners, bid out road department garage floor, capital improvement fiscal management program, future scheduled budget meetings, 537 plan budgeting, Meadow Crest packing plant, police officer, solicitor. So several things. I don't know if we'll get through it all. We're gonna.
Those last three, that's for September, was it September 10th, 8th, 15th, is that, am I understanding that right? Are those all in, it says future schedule budget meetings.
Okay, future schedule. September 10th, October 8th,
Yeah.
15th, 22nd, November 12th, and 19th. I guess we're supposed to walk out those days. The future
We're gonna
workshop.
discuss how you wanna handle that, because there's workshop meetings in the morning and in the evening. How you wanna handle that, you just wanna break it down into your departments.
We'll talk about that at our first budget meeting.
Yeah.
For our first, Okay. MS4 fee notice from Jordan Tax Service, discussion. We talked about that a little bit at our agenda meeting. Is there anything new on that from Jordan?
I contacted the one property owner that says he did not get a bill. He had paid the bill already, so his mom paid that I, or some other family member paid.
Did any of them guys come in over here?
Yes.
So they didn't get them. It was from basically Freedom Post Office is the source.
Somebody in the family paid it already. It's already been paid. So we're right on track.
Item number F, approve the comprehensive plan update. We'll take action on that.
And a couple questions, well, not really questions, but I wanted to ask Alexis if she would just explain what the point, the function and plan for the comprehensive plan is. So we can just solidify that in the meeting minutes so that we can just capture that for historic purposes. Because we talked about it at length at the agenda meeting, and even tonight on what the scope of that is. So we can just record that.
Sure, I mean, I can send you a statement via email, so it might be easier for you, but yeah, just to kind of reiterate, the comprehensive plan is just a guiding planning document with future goals to incentivize the municipality to zone appropriately and according to the studies that were undertaken in order to form the comprehensive plan. It has no effect on, the regulations or ordinances already in place in the township. It really does not have any sort of solid regulatory effect. Again, it's just sort of a planning tool that provides helpful information for people looking to come into the township and develop, or looking to come into the township, looking at the demographics and things to determine if maybe they want to live here, things like that. So it's a guiding plan. Again, not binding. It's not something that you can make a decision based upon whether something is or is not in compliance with it. So, that's the basic overview, and I can send you, Lori, something in writing to that effect.
And like what Joanne was saying about the continued gathering of information throughout the year from stakeholders or from the community, and then having this be a living document. Sorry. Good idea. So, with that, I would move to approve the comprehensive plan update as submitted with additional workshops, yearly meetings with stakeholders to continually gather information for the supervisors to make those decisions and determinations.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to add one comment for you. I'd just like to clarify that in the Beaver County 2010 comprehensive plan, they identify a rural resource area as a future land use in their future land use map. It's not anything that they've has been codified. So again, to emphasize Aleka's point that comprehensive plans do not codify land uses.
That's done through zoning.
That's done through zoning, and that the Beaver County plan, which is 14 years old, only identifies that rural resource areas should be located in areas without municipal utilities, and that it's a future land use recommendation on the part of Beaver County, but that the area they designated in New Sewickley Township is primarily areas where New Sewickley Township actually has access to utilities. So I'm sure that in a future comprehensive plan, they would remove that designation themselves. But again, I'd like to emphasize that it's that it is a future land use and not a codified land use that was identified in the Beaver County plan. Just to clarify, so that question can be put to bed. Thank you.
I wouldn't think we'd want to limit ourselves. All right, before we get that second.
I second.
We have a second. I've got a little information here that I promised I would read. A letter from the school district. It says, basically Lori's asking for a statement from the school. It says, Lori, I'm fine with what was written in the plan for education. Thank you, short and sweet. They've reviewed it and they're fine with it. Beaver County has a meeting coming up on August 20th. Looks like they've reviewed this on May 21st. County states that Exit has adopted a county comprehensive plan. Yes, May of 2010. Is consistent with the adopted county or multi-county comprehensive plan, so it is consistent with. And their comments, Planning Commission has no objection or comments to the proposed comprehensive plan updates as submitted. So, 2 letters saying that they have basically no further comments. So, that motion is second. Any additional comments? Or?
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand what the motion is. Can we get the motion again?
I don't know if I can say the exact words, but the motion was to approve the comprehensive plan update as submitted with additional workshops that we can hold yearly with stakeholders in the community so that the supervisors can implement correctly or implement how they see fit the comp plan down to the planning commission and so forth.
So you're inviting us to hold additional meetings?
With stakeholders, yes. With the stakeholders for amongst just a workshop.
I think that's a function of the planning commission, not the board of supervisors.
That's where the scope of the document comes into play, because it's for the supervisors to make decisions and direct others to implement the plan. So I think the supervisors should get together and discuss how they see how best to implement the plan.
So I would recommend that if there's not some sort of like mutually agreed upon plan of how these meetings should operate, that the motion just be with regard to the comprehensive plan and then there be an internal discussion. I think the intent is to have those additional meetings. It's just a matter of determining what the appropriate forum is for those. And I don't think that basing an approval contingent upon having meetings that are yet to be determined would be appropriate for this particular document. Just because if there was some issue with holding the meetings, then technically the approval of the plan would be null and void.
What's just
I have
a
a-
yearly meeting?
I have a tendency to agree. I mean, we have this plan we've been working on for 2 years. That's almost like what we're gonna be starting when we started the next one down the line. I don't see any reason to tie that onto the comp plan that we've worked on.
For additional meetings.
For additional meetings, no, this is, we're here to pick the comp plan that we've been working on for 2 years, with stakeholders, LSSE, the planning commission, solicitor, and we've been through this 100 times, so, I mean, this is what we're voting on now, and what we're gonna do in the future, that's fine, I have no objections to any of it, but I don't think it should be tied onto this.
I think we can add it, Steve, like we're doing with these other items. Or from time to time, if there's an issue that we need to discuss, we should have these workshop meetings. But I don't think we need to tie it to the adoption of this comprehensive plan.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to indicate.
Right.
Yeah, because
So we should keep that clean. And additionally, I don't think any of us are opposed to talking about any subject like that.
Well, it's just how to implement it, because it's a very broad brush on what the vision is that we have as a board, what the priorities are as a board, to sit down and start that on
It's always the issue. I get it.
Yeah, then we need to go to the planning commission, the supervisors need to go to the planning commission meetings and make their wishes known. I go and there's not many people there that's, so, I think that's where we
Well,
should start it.
we have a motion on the table now that includes that, so I think we need to handle that at the moment. Yes.
I'll withdraw my second, is that legal? Therefore, we can.
I think the appropriate way would be to put it to a vote since there's
As stated.
a motion and a second. And if you wanted to revise the motion, there would have to be a vote to disapprove of it and then a new motion made and seconded.
Bring it up again. All right, we have a motion on the table that includes the meetings. Motion and a second. Roll call.
Fritz.
No.
Mike.
No.
Steve.
Yes.
Martin.
No. So now we'll take it up again as a clean.
All right, I'll move to approve the comprehensive plan updated as submitted.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any additional questions or comments? Roll call.
Fritz.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Steve.
No.
Martin.
Yes. Approved to apply for the LSA grants, item number G. And a resolution for each discussion with action.
I'll make that motion. I move to approve the township manager to apply for the upcoming LSA grant and a resolution for each as discussed.
So before you go continue.
Let me second, and we'll discuss it.
Motion and a second, and no comment.
I haven't seen anything in regards to this LSA grant. There's nothing on here about how much it is, how many it's for.
The grants are in place. Ron, you want to clarify?
I just don't understand how we get to a meeting and any information is not provided.
The workshop meeting on the 13th. The very last thing, it says, Community Facilities Direct Loan Grant Program and LSA grants. At that time, you'll have your list of stuff that we applied for last year. If you want to add more to the LSA grants, I need to know that. It opened up last week. It's only open for a few months. I kind of want to get the process going, so once you give me the okay, what you actually want at the workshop meeting, that's when we move forward. Last year, we applied for a Roscoe broom for the road department, the concrete floor for the road department, generators for the municipality, playground equipment at the park, road department truck, and the paving of the walking trail. And I kind of like you to add roof to the municipal building, hasn't been replaced since, or any work on it since 1982.
We'll discuss that, but right now, those grants, just to clarify, 20% matching
20%
grant.
match, yes.
So we haven't received any. We haven't received notification. They take a year to compress. So we're gonna keep them.
What does that equate to?
Free money. I can help.
So 20% of
I can help.
Whatever you apply for,
Okay.
whatever you
I
get.
can help. Just close the door on this one. So you've applied for different grants. So LSA, it's open September. It'll close in November. It's 100% grant, zero match for what you applied for last year. If you want to raise yourself on the list, it can be potentially awarded. Folks do 5, 10, 15, 20% match because you have more likelihood of getting more money if you have some skin in the game. It doesn't mean you won't get anything, but you may get less than you asked for. So you have a list of projects, and so that at your September meeting, we can have the resolutions ready so that the application can actually put in for what you want. I think Ron has this on tonight so that the board's given notice that you need to discuss this over the next month, and then we can help put the packages together and provide the supporting documents, because over the next month, you're gonna know if the grant you applied for last year, if you're getting funded for anything, because when they set the date that in September, they're going to open the grants, the ones from the previous year typically have been awarded by them. So between now and September 1st, our expectation is you're gonna see a bunch of money come out throughout the state. There was a significant amount of money issued last year. This is an election year, so I fully expect that the coffers are gonna open up for the state.
And the state just passed a budget.
And they just passed their budget. So the thing that held it up last year was it was in the budget for quite a while. This year it's gonna open, so I think amongst the board, you should talk about what's the priorities, because next year, I think you're gonna see this fund well funded. Because this is the statewide gamble. So it has a constant feed of dollars in there.
Yeah.
So it's a good program.
Keeping the ball rolling. So I've already got them in there, we'll keep the fight going.
So, are we on the hook for 20% of?
Last year was zero.
If you get the grant.
Yeah.
But there is some that, like I said, if you want to increase your chances and you have a project that, let's say is $305,000 for the garage floor and the heat. So if you could get 280,000 or so because you put 15,000 in, that may raise your chances on the legislators, because when they look at it, they in all likelihood say, who's putting a little bit of money from their budget in that's leveraging our money, and you may increase your chances. There's no exact formula for it. We have many communities that don't put any money in, and they do get funding, they just don't get quite what they asked for. There's always a little holdback on it. So, but you've been very successful in grants. You know, your staff, Ron, you've gotten millions in funding over the last.
So the LSA grant is the grant we received the police cars on. The year we did that, we did like 5 through the municipality, and we did 1 in the police department. The manager did the stuff up in the municipality, I did the 1 in the police department for the police cars. We asked for $200,000 for the police cars. The police cars cost $250,000, so we had a $50,000 match to it. Which one did we get out of the 7 we applied? The one that had the match. Because the state will see commitment to those types of grants. If you put some divvy to it, you're more supported to get it.
Plus it got new outfits, new radios.
That paid, $50,000 paid for all the upgrades.
Yeah, all the upgrades
So
are sorely needed.
you word it that you're putting money towards it.
So I guess that's what I'm asking, like, if you're, whatever the projects are, if we're gonna match 20%, do we have those funds allocated for that?
Yes.
as we go into budget, that's what we're looking to do.
Yeah.
Make sure we have that money
So.
available or allocated for.
So how can we approve that tonight? Well, this is for the fall.
Well, you're approving the
Application.
process. We're already approved it in that process since last year. We just want to continue doing the same
Need
thing.
some more.
Well, no, we haven't received any word yet. We may get notification that we're getting.
Kevin, when they supposed to award last year's or this year's?
It should be out over the next month.
So it could change.
So if we get a Roscoe broom from last year, then we can scratch that from our list. Things we'd like to get to.
We'll get a look at that as we get into the budget process. We have motion and a second. Any additional comments? Roll call.
Fritz.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Steve.
Yes.
Mark.
Yes. Okay. Resolution's ready. Public safety, police. Monthly report, you guys should all got your monthly report from the police department. They've been very busy, as usual. Approve advertising of ordinance number 237, restricting traffic flow on Harvey Avenue. We'll take action on that.
I move to approve the advertising of ordinance number 237, restricting traffic flow on Harvey Avenue.
Questions or comments?
I have a question. What's the genesis of this? Why we're restricting RV road that comes up by the school?
So this is the ordinance that addresses the ingress and egress to the school during school hours, and restricting traffic flow based on the direction the buses drop off children.
There was
Or pick up
already an
children.
ordinance in place,
Correct.
and this is just altering the time frame, really, for those, because I think the school district altered the time frame. So we're just updating the ordinance to reflect that.
Okay. Time, ordinances, times, ordinances, everything matches. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Roll call.
Fritz.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Steve.
Yes.
Mark.
Yes. Approved to hire Grant Krosky as a part-time police officer. Take action on that. You're gonna fill us in, chief?
Yeah, Grant has passed all of our hiring process. So we're asking that we add him as a part-time officer right now. Get him here, get him trained, and move forward.
That's right into our budget, I guess.
Yep.
All right, I'll move to hire Grant Krosky, part-time officer.
A second.
Motion and a second. Any additional questions or comments? Roll call.
Fritz.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Steve.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes. Fire departments. Monthly reports. Jim,
It doesn't matter. I'll go first. Good evening, everybody. My name's Stephen Joy. Recently put in as the new president for Big Knob Volunteer Fire Department since the premature departure of Brian Perry. This is Chris Furby. He is the new vice president. I apologize for the absence the last couple months. I was officially put in June and had a lot of things on my plate, cleaning stuff up. Does anyone have any questions for me to start off?
Fire department looks great.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We have pretty much completed this small addition we put on the building. A few punch list items with the builder now, but it is coming along. This weekend we do have our Sportsman's Bash coming up. I believe the tickets are pretty much all sold out for it. Anyone that hasn't got one, we do still sell meal tickets to come into the event. Participate in all the side raffles. That is our biggest fundraiser for the year. And Jim, were you going to touch on the merger, or do you want me to touch on it some?
No.
Okay, well, that's all I have, and thank you guys very much for your support.
Thank you for yours.
We have a work night coming up on the 13th. Can you be at that meeting?
I will be here. Myself, Chris, and John and Matt will be here.
Okay, for Pine Run, our financial summary was sent to the township manager. Wanted to share our July calls for service. We had 14 QRS calls, 5 structure fires, 6 fire alarm activation, 3 brush fires, 1 crash with injuries, 1 odor of gas leak pole, 2 trees and wires down, 1 search detail, 1 CO alarm, for a total of 34 calls for the month. And just want to point out our QRS calls, again, are about 41% of our calls for the month of July, and it's been kind of running that number since about spring. So it's become a significant part of the business. A little bit of a merger update. President Joy and I submitted a petition letter to the Attorney General. We're waiting on a letter of no objection from them to approve the merger, and the attorney's putting the package together to go to the Beaver County Orphans Court, which is the next to the last step of the process. That's moving along. Some grant activity to report. We applied for a Norfolk Southern grant for $10,000 for an enclosed trailer for our Polaris UTV. We currently, if we have to get a call, we have to load it on a flat trailer and tie it down and hook it to the truck before we can start to respond to the call. This would have the Polaris pre-packaged and ready to go and just hook the trailer to the truck and go. So it'll help with our response a little bit in that regard and make those calls a little bit easier. We also applied for a state farm grant for $8,700 for some rescue struts and tooling, and our fingers are still crossed. We have a joint grant, FEMA grant for both departments for new breathing apparatus, which that has a value of about $300,000. So we haven't been told no yet, so we're optimistic on that. And on behalf of both departments, we want to just express our gratitude and support to the community and the local businesses for helping us with our ticket sales this year. So I think that's all I have.
I appreciate all you guys do. Thanks for plugging along with that, keeping us informed of the merger, and that seems to be going well.
Long process.
Couple speed bumps. They're all going the right direction.
So far.
So far, very good, very good. Good to see some new faces and keep up the recruiting, I guess. I haven't heard much about that lately, but it's been a hot summer. And stay safe out there.
All right, thank you.
All right, still staying on the fire department. Talked about that engineering services for Big Mill Fire Department stormwater management for $9,500.
It's okay. I'd like to table this till after we have that meeting on the 13th.
I agree with you. I think we should table and get some more information. Can you expand on that a bit at all?
Yeah, I met with Ron when we had our paving walkthrough, and looked at paving around the fire department and their request because of the size and amount of paving. And actually tonight would have been a good example for everybody to see. Currently the stormwater from the existing site, both what's proposed to be paved and so forth, kind of runs down to the state road, a big piece of it, about half of it. I didn't realize how much the wind drove through it tonight. I mean, it's about 8 inches of water on a rain like tonight. It runs down the road.
Down the driveway.
Down the driveway, and because it's all sheet flow. So when we looked at it in the field, what the fire department described, and kind of what they have, it's a good idea. They're going to reverse the water. It's going to go around the building to the back. But because of the size of the paving area that's going to be paved now, by ordinance, it requires stormwater management plan. Storm system needs to be designed even if Township would happen to build it, to make sure that we get the water to some type of facility and then it gets discharged appropriately and doesn't run onto somebody else's property and flood it. So I looked at it as if it was anybody else in the township, that they come in with the same type of project. What would they have to do? They have to do stormwater management plan. I did have in it to do a survey of the whole property and drone it, because you do have stuff that happens there. There's not a good map of the facility. There's no property line, stuff like that. So I've already completed that, so you know, the survey. And it doesn't matter to me if it's passed or not for it, but in order to do the project, we gotta place the facility so it doesn't impact how the fire department.
Was that you that did the survey up at the property then? Because there had been markers up there, and we thought it was the Sportsman's Club actually behind us
Yeah,
surveying.
that was us.
That was you, okay.
After we met with Ron, we
Okay.
had some stuff to do for the cemetery that we donated to the township.
Thank you, by the way, for that.
It was in order to take care of an age-old problem, as we found out, difficult one, by the way. But I think it's important for the fire department to get a good survey and to know where your boundary is, and then it's something you can use in the future for planning. You're gonna have an event or something, you can at least lay it out, know how the contours go. But also, we don't wanna place a facility, or suggest you place it, where it's gonna impact your use of the property. And so this stuff gotta go together, so we gotta do it right. So the only way to do that is survey. Cost us about $9,000 to do a survey, and the proposal has 3,600 in it. But we gotta do it right. We did other stuff for the township with the fire department, we did it for free, back for the other facility. We donated some services there, so, you know, we like to assist with these fire departments. Stormwater management plan, that's basically cost, because we gotta do conveyance, we gotta do calculations for how big the facility needs to be. And then we wanna make sure also we place it in the future so that we come back and say we wanna add another 20,000 square foot of paving, that the pond can just be made a little bit bigger and you don't gotta build a whole new facility. So, you know, if we do it and you wanna do the work, we wanna do it right. You know, I talked to Ron, you know, potentially the township stormwater management fee can be used for that. Our other communities do that, because they do donate money to the fire departments a lot. So sometimes they use their stormwater management fee to help offset costs like this and buy materials potentially. Again, in your August 13th meeting, I would suggest you guys talk through that and see how not only you get it designed right, but also how you want to pay for it in the end, because you know it's not something you can kind of have to. You want to do it right so that you don't get complaints from people. Somebody drives down the road and says, "Hey, why is all the stormwater running off a new facility?" It puts township and the fire department in a bad way. You know, we don't want to have complaints from the neighbors or anything like that. So
That's kind of where I was waiting to put a new building on. That should have been done, the grading plan should have been done before you built the building.
sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. A lot of times it comes out with the pavement.
They want to put an additional parking lot behind it, and the grade is still not right. Because if you stand there and look at it, the whole reason this came about, we were gonna try to do paving there for handicap parking for elections.
Correct.
And we found out that it was not graded right to accommodate that. So the grading would have been changed, and that's where you come in and.
Yeah, we want to do it right.
Now, to take it out the back, it needs to be lower. There's a cement slab there. You guys already took dirt out, creating another problem. And just stacking up so to get it right, and then what do we do with it?
Yeah, we want to have a nice plan.
We want to have a nice plan. We don't want water running down 989.
So could I just make one quick comment on the water on the side of the building? That has always been an issue going down on 90. That's not a new issue there.
Good.
It is exaggerated now because when they built the addition onto the building, there is a steeper slope for grade coming down to avoid going on the property next door. So it is exaggerated and creates more of a river flowing down, but the water runoff onto 989 has always been there. It's been going on forever since they built the original building there.
Probably 50 years.
Yeah, and it's the same amount of water. It hasn't changed. It is flowing faster because it's channeled more rather than gradual grade. So that's, again, nothing new. Now, the parking lot in the back, that was, again, before my time. It was finished recently back there. However, they did grade it so that water runs towards the back of the building. If you go up there right now, it's flowing towards the back of the building. Steve, I think you rode up before the meeting even and saw it's flowing towards the far corner of the grass. It's not coming down. They did push that to help keep the water from coming up to the addition. So just for future reference on that.
You guys are going to be at that?
Yes, I will be there. Yep.
That workshop. Maybe we'll talk about it more then.
Here's my problem with this. Most of the property on the left-hand side of the building, you guys don't own.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's where the majority of this water is
That's
flowing
correct.
down
It's not
to.
even coming from our property. Our property line is roughly 40 feet off of the new addition that was put on the building. is where the
Yes.
property line's at. So the water runoff, most of it isn't even ours. It's our
You
water.
guys don't even own the right of way to come into the.
Correct, we do not.
Well, that brings up another section.
That's a real problem,
You guys
I
need to
would
bring
think.
up, maybe you should own that property. Again.
We can discuss that next week.
Right,
It was
just-
brought up to me already.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm just saying, can we do
Yes, turn it into a cemetery.
can we do the fire department and not do that up there and have any success with this, Kevin? I mean, if half of it's, the other guy doesn't have to do it, but the
He
fire
doesn't
department.
have to do it, but since the water and the way the water flows, it's part of the calculation on bypassing that water around your facility. It's part of the design.
Okay.
So that you stop the impact from the other property.
So when it flows down and we kind of pick it up then and get rid of it. All right, I understand.
But the linchpin in this whole operation is the size of the pavement that you're going to put in there.
And I honestly don't even know that. That was never discussed with me. That was between Ron and Brian
So
before
if
me.
if it's under 1,000 feet, you're in this category. If it's between 1,000 and 10,000, now you're in the medium category. If you go over 10,000, then you got to do everything.
Oh yeah, exactly. And from my understanding, the only portion that was going to be paved was directly in front of the two new garage doors on the addition.
Yeah.
And 20 feet out on the far side to put handicap parking in. That was, to my knowledge, the only thing being discussed for paving. If there's more than that, I wasn't privy to it.
Because you'd go onto the other property.
Correct, yeah.
The problem is even the gravel's considered.
Impervious, correct. That's
So
correct.
That's,
But
But
that
it-
doesn't count towards this new, because it's existing, you're not disturbing it. Once you disturb it for new construction, that's what puts you into the category of.
But now they're just
square
starting more.
footage.
Now you've gone behind the building and you're putting in another parking lot. So you're doing more.
That's not going to be paved.
Yeah, he's just saying.
No, but it'll be gravel.
It's
still
gravel.
nice water.
Right. It's gravel and it's sloping towards our yard.
I'm just saying, don't create more. I think we're gonna do the stuff that we have.
And again, as I spoke
Very good
before, that was
background.
prior to my time that it was done. It was recently completed. It was all planned with part of the building. I know there was mention that it was 135 by 100 and some feet when it was not. It was an 80 by 60 area that was put in. The rest was existing. They just cleaned it up to make it look. So it's been essentially where that concrete pad is, out 80 feet from there.
So if we could get like a good sketch or just some dimensions on what exactly it is, that'll be.
Okay.
That'll be helpful.
We're gonna table this.
Yeah.
Table it till we have the meeting.
We will be here.
Bring in your thoughts and we'll see what we can do about it.
You guys do have a survey.
I do not have any surveys. No, we have an old one probably from early 90s. Chris, would you say?
Yeah, I know you did. Yeah.
Oh, he's already got it. We'll have it for you. Okay. All right, we'll talk about it.
Thanks.
Can you make a motion to table?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to table this.
Okay. Motion in a second, all in favor, or no, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Road Department, monthly report. Anything we should know, RJ?
Nope, summer stuff, same as always, project on Wall Street, Mellon Drive, completed probably tomorrow, or maybe by the end of the week be completed, other than that, same old thing.
You happy with that tractor yet?
We got one more, we haven't been able to run it because we started the project, hope to get the fall in it, soon.
Seeing you've been doing a lot of mowing, so it's.
Yeah, it's just round 2 is ready, just we're missed the project, we got that stuff.
You're in round 2 and they just mowed mine the first time.
We're over
PennDOT. Not you guys, PennDOT.
Oh, I know, yeah, they're.
Okay.
You got a copy of your complimentary letter?
I do not. We got a nice letter from Mrs. DeLuca about the mowing and all we do for the residents, and she was very thankful to us.
Yes, it was a very nice letter, and she was very complimentary. So you guys have went out of your way to help her out. So.
Okay, good job. Engineering, monthly report.
Nothing additional from what we submitted.
Solicitor monthly report. I guess we'll take that up. Later.
Yeah, so I submitted a report already, and I don't have anything to add at this time.
Planning, recreation, and zoning. Planning department. Guys are just waiting on Meadowcrest.
Yes.
Yeah, in my discussions a little bit this past week in my own review of the plan, I believe my understanding is that about a third of the conditions, maybe half of them, come under the supervisor's responsibility. So when we review it, we'll obviously not be reviewing your responsibility. We'll only be reviewing the things that we can affect. So if LSS comes in with a clean report, we'll undoubtedly pass it and pass it on to you all, knowing that you all have to take care of what the responsibilities that you have. The solicitor will probably knowledgeable about it. There's no surprises.
Right.
But I was kind of worried because I was looking at 30-some areas of responsibility and I couldn't figure out the answers to them.
A lot of reports.
So
A lot of things they have to do, so.
we'll take care of our part.
It's lengthy.
And you all be at yours.
Appreciate your efforts. Recreation, the report submitted. Mike, anything we should know?
Yeah, I'll go over a couple of things. Did everybody get the report?
Yep.
The upper park buildings, got completed, the metalwork, the roofs and ceilings, they look pretty good. Pittsburgh Power Tournament was busy down there, we didn't have any complaints or concerns, everything seemed to go well with it. Skywalkers finished up their camps down there, lots of kids were down there for that. The movies, we finished up our Barbie movie the other night, that was our last movie for the year. This Saturday we got the flea market, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's $10 for a vendor to set up. They can contact Dave Bauman. August 16th, we got Dancing Queen concert. We held a workshop meeting on the 29th with Detective Benson, and everything's going good for our Fall Fest planning and everything, getting everything worked out. And our next meeting is Monday, August 12th, 6:30 at the park if anybody wants to join us.
Zoning, you should have all got your zoning reports, a couple of additions, and more solar.
Solar panels.
Solar panels.
All reports to them.
Okay, leave board comments.
Yeah, I found RJ's letter. I want to read it. I know maybe I'm. RJ Krause, I want to thank you and whoever was cutting grass along Spade Road and Pine Run. You cut the hillside of Pine Run and the chunk on the side of the garage. Very much appreciated. We get poison ivy bad and cannot cut the hill. Remember, at any time the township wishes to park vehicles or equipment by the garage, the space is yours. No need to even ask. As always, we love our township and the people living here. We have well-maintained properties and great neighbors. Good luck as always, the DeLucas. Very nice.
Good to get a good letter once in a while, RJ.
Sure. Yeah, we don't get near enough to it.
You're right. And you guys went out of your way for this, for these people, so that's great.
We always park in their, on their property anytime we're working down there. They've been in the township for a long, long time, great people, always willing to help. So.
Well, maybe everybody doesn't know, we had a big road tour too, with engineering and RJ and Ron, and they beat us up for, what, 3 hours, 4 hours?
3.5 to 4 hours.
Oh, we can take. We only got about halfway through the road.
Today, Dave and I completed the study.
You completed it?
Dave and I went out.
You're gonna get a list now for,
He took all the notes, he said he will send that to Ron and I, and, so.
we need to set up those, one of our workshop topics, to see how to move forward with this. Because, some comments come on in the budget, when you enter Cranberry Township or North Sewickley or somewhere, you see a big difference. So we wanna see how we can maybe address that a little further.
I talked to Dave about it as well.
Yeah, it's gonna cost some money to start that way, but that's what needs to happen, to get our bases where they need to be and roads the right widths and things like that, so we're ready to pave instead of just always chipping. It's expensive, so we need to talk about it, so that's our plan. Okay? Any additional comments? Go ahead, Chris.
Since Mike is not the road department, I want to throw an attaboy out to Kevin Brett and LSSC. Many times people say, why do we need engineering firms? Here's an example. If we had had proper engineering before, we wouldn't have had this problem now. I put down good light, gifts, attaboys, accolades, laurels, pro bonos, that means free. That's where Kevin Brett and LSSC is. I don't know how many times we've asked them to help us, and they've helped us. You're an honorary member of my community, certainly for what you and your group has done. And my only comparison, I remember, I shouldn't mention her name because I might get sued, but a former engineering firm did nothing, and I accentuate that, nothing pro bono. So I want to thank you and your organization for what you've done for us. Great. Thank you so much, and we appreciate it.
That's it. Ready to go? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor? Aye.
Sign checks.
Sign the checks. Have a good one.